Sagittarius urgent. In 3 days, destiny's fire will manifest. God saw you rising. The divine summon. The flame that calls your name. Sagittarius, listen closely. There is a sound moving through the halls of your spirit tonight. A low ancient hum that doesn't ask for your attention so much as it claims it. You know this sound. It visited you when you were a child looking up at a sky too big to understand and yet somehow entirely familiar. It arrives again now as wind across a torch, as breath across an ember you thought had dimmed. Destiny is calling your name through the winds of fire. And whether you feel ready or not, the hour of recognition has come. You have been restless lately, haven't you? The kind of restlessness that doesn't feel like caffeine or worry, but like a silent waking. Like the soul rising from a long ceremonial sleep. You've tried to read it as stress, as impatience, as the usual Sagittarius desire to move, change, choose. But this time the pull is different. It isn't asking you to escape anything. It is inviting you to arrive. What you've labeled confusion is really activation. The archer is standing in the doorway between what was and what must be, and the threshold glows with a heat that is both unfamiliar and wholly yours. There is urgency in this message. Not the anxious rush of fear but the bright insistence of alignment. A rare window opens for you across the next 3 days. Think of it as a corridor of fire drawn by a hand that knows your true coordinates. The universe has been angling you toward this passage for months, quietly adjusting the sights on your bow, while you were busy trying to interpret the landscape. The detours weren't punishments. The pauses weren't rejections. Every not yet was a calibration, sacred and precise, so that when the moment arrived your arrow would fly true. Place your palm upon your heart, archer of light. Feel what moves under your ribs. The warm drum, the memory of drums, the echo of nights you danced with possibility and didn't apologize for believing in miracles. That rhythm never left you. It only softened so you could hear subtler music, the kind that doesn't perform, only belongs. Tonight that rhythm rises again, cloaked in blue-gold light, and with it comes a protection you don't have to earn. Archangel Michael enters this chapter like a sentinel carved from the horizon itself. His presence isn't theatrical. It is simply undeniable, like clarity, like sudden peace for no external reason. See the sapphire ring of fire circle you, burning off the fine cobwebs of fear that cling to old stories. I waited too long. I chose wrong. I lost my chance. Watch those threads curl to smoke. Let them go. Protection is not the absence of battle. It is the assurance that the battle cannot define you. In his light, your nervous mind quiets, your shoulders drop, and your breathing remembers its own unhurried wisdom. Repeat, aloud if you can, or inside the vault of your chest where vows are heard most clearly. I, Sagittarius, accept the divine miracle and trust the fire that guides me. I welcome the protection of heaven. I am ready. Write it. Whisper it. Breathe it. Not as superstition, but as contract. Your signature upon the page of a story that has been waiting for you to re-enter it consciously. Because this is not a new plot line. It is your original one, the one that survived every rewrite of doubt. You have felt nights lifting you to the edge of sleep and then holding you there, luminous and awake. You have felt days that looked ordinary but buzzed at the edges like neon rain. You have known the odd magnetism of songs, numbers, and names repeating until you laughed at the audacity of their timing. None of that was random. Synchronicity is not the universe trying to get your attention. It is the universe mirroring your attention back to you. When you aim your arrow of awareness with love, reality answers in kind. Across these 3 days, pay fierce and gentle attention. Your miracle may not announce itself with fireworks. Many doors of destiny swing on quiet hinges. The text you almost ignore, the brief conversation in a doorway, the invitation that feels both inconvenient and exactly right. These small portals often hold the whole cathedral. Your task is not to force manifestation. Your task is to be unmistakably present when the alignment reveals itself. Let's speak honestly about the ache you've carried. Sagittarius is famous for hope and movement, but there is a secret weight you rarely name. The loneliness of vision. You have seen horizons before others did and paid the tax of being early. You have told the truth and lost the company of those who preferred the comfort of fog. You have loved with an unconcealed heart, and learned how easily the world confuses intensity with instability. Still, you would not trade your fire for an easier temperature. And heaven would not ask you to. Your flame is not a flaw, it is the curriculum. So the universe has brought you a teacher worthy of that flame. Tempered patience. This patience is not passivity. It is the poise of a bowstring held at perfect tension, humming with gathered distance. It is the discipline to let the arrow collect sky before you release it. In the language of angels, patience is simply trust measured in minutes. Across these 3 days, train with this teacher. When urgency tries to impersonate intuition, breathe. When old anxiety rehearses its favorite chorus, let the blue fire widen around your thoughts. If a decision must be made, choose the path that gives your spirit more room, not more noise. Room is how destiny speaks. You will feel the old narrative trying one last costume change. What if it doesn't happen? Smile at it. The question is irrelevant now. The more accurate question is, who am I while it happens? Miracles belong to the universe. Readiness belongs to you. Readiness is not hypervigilance. It is hospitality. Prepare a place in your life that assumes you are about to be blessed. Clear a drawer. Clean a schedule. Finish a lingering apology. Send a note of gratitude that puts the future on notice. I am already living like someone who is loved by what's coming. Walk outside whenever you can. Sagittarius thrives beneath honest sky. Let wind touch your face as if delivering the oldest language you know. If nature is scarce where you are, find one living thing. A tree that knew you before you knew yourself, a windowsill fern, a bird conversing with morning, and borrow its steadiness for a while. Creation is not anxious about timing. It keeps time. Match your breath to that calm metronome. Feel how life continues to expand without your permission. And then remember that it expands with your permission even more beautifully. If you have an amethyst, hold it to the center of your chest and picture a violet ember glowing brighter with each inhale. If you don't, no matter, imagination is the first and best altar. See the ember anyway. See it warm the corridors of old memory. Those rooms where younger versions of you folded away bright dreams for later. Tell them later is crossing the threshold. Tell them you kept the key. And because prophecy must be practical to be holy, make one simple, tangible offering to your own future in these days. Send the email. Outline the project. Clean the space where the new will sit. Buy the train ticket that turns longing into itinerary. Destiny loves evidence. Give it a receipt that says, I was expecting you. Do not be surprised if a figure of authority appears in symbolic or literal form. A mentor, a guide, a message from someone who knows doors you do not. Authority is often how grace disguises help when pride would reject rescue. Receive it without theatrics. Gratitude is the correct volume. You may also feel a presence behind your left shoulder when you are most still. The quiet of an ancestor whose courage you inherited in your bones. Perhaps a woman whose laugh you carry. Perhaps a man whose silence held whole oceans. They will not speak loudly. They will arrange a memory on your path like a polished stone and watch you find it. When you do, touch your heart and say, walk with me. They already are. And what of love? You will not chase it now. Not because you have given up, but because you have grown into it. The love that belongs with your fire cannot be summoned by pursuit. It recognizes itself and takes a seat. If it arrives in these days, it will not test you. It will not audition you. It will simply make more room inside your chest without asking for rent. If it does not arrive yet, you will still feel accompanied by purpose, by presence, by a quality of quiet that tastes like arrival. Before this first chapter closes, let us seal the corridor that brought you here. Stand literally if you can, and feel the bottoms of your feet learn their work again. Roll your shoulders back as if returning a borrowed burden you never needed to carry. Then with a voice that sounds like you on your bravest day, say, I am aligned with the perfect rhythm of life. I walk in protected fire. I am ready for the door that opens in 3 days, and I will recognize it in peace. What is mine arrives gently and stays. Now exhale. Allow the ordinary room you stand in to become a sanctuary simply because you have decided it is one. Nothing flashy must happen for something holy to begin. The archer's gift is not that you always know where to shoot. It is that you shoot with faith and let the sky finish the mathematics. Across these next 3 days, the sky is your partner. When you sleep tonight, your dreams may tidy themselves, knotting loose threads, returning lost faces, underlining a sentence you have ignored. When you wake, you may feel a thin, thrilling stillness where anxiety once lived. Trust it. Stillness is not emptiness. It is capacity. Miracles like large rooms. The summons has been delivered. The flame has spoken your name without burning you. Your task is humane and holy. Keep your heart soft enough to hear, your mind quiet enough to notice, your hands free enough to receive. Do this and you won't have to go looking for the door that belongs to you. It will find you the way dawn finds a horizon, inevitably, tenderly, in perfect time. And when it does, when the knock you've prayed for finally sounds as softly as it always would, smile like someone who remembers this moment from a life before this life. Open. Step through. Do not apologize for the brightness on the other side. The archer has been summoned. The bow is warm. The wind is friendly. The corridor is lit. Part 2, the cleansing fire. Trials, faith, and the hidden blessing. Sagittarius, the fire that called your name in the first part now burns brighter. But fire, for all its beauty, does not choose what it consumes. Purifies everything it touches. You are entering the portion of this passage where the heat reveals what is real. This is not punishment. It is refinement. Think back over the last season of your life. The sudden endings, the strange silences, the betrayals that felt undeserved. Each of those moments was a spark falling upon the dry grass of illusion. The universe did not burn you for cruelty. It burned what could no longer hold the light you're becoming. You have been walking through a field of transformation disguised as loss. The angels who watch over fire call this stage the tempering. When metal is first formed, it is hard but brittle. Only repeated heating and cooling, fire and air, can give it strength and flexibility. The same is true of your spirit. Every rise in temperature has taught you how to bend without breaking. There were nights you asked, why must I lose what I love just to learn what I am? The answer comes softly. Because love was never meant to be your cage. It was meant to be your catalyst. The relationships that dissolved, the work that ended, the dreams that seemed delayed, all of them were exits written by grace. The Tower card appears now, its spire struck by lightning, its walls collapsing into revelation. The Tower's message is blunt but merciful. The life you built around your fears cannot hold the life built for your faith. Do not mourn the ashes. The phoenix knows them by name. In the glow of those ruins you begin to notice something else. A circle of protection drawn in blue fire. Archangel Michael stands again, sword lowered, gaze steady. He says nothing, yet his silence fills you with comprehension. Protection is not only defense, it is direction. He has been guiding your steps away from every counterfeit opportunity, so you could arrive at the real one waiting beyond your impatience. Over the next 3 days, this purification continues. You may feel emotional tides rise and fall quickly. Memories surface. Old fears rehearse their scripts. Let them. They are smoke leaving the temple. Every time anxiety flares, whisper, I walk through the fire with faith. I am guided. I am never alone. Repeat until the words become temperature instead of language. Sagittarius, the wheel of fortune begins to move again. Slow at first, then unmistakable. You can almost hear the creak of destiny's mechanism as it lifts you toward a new vantage point. What felt like endless waiting was the wheel catching you at the exact spoke where your courage would outweigh your doubt. The universe is mathematical that way. It will not release momentum until belief outweighs fear on the scale. You are close to that balance now. Temperance reappears to steady your hands. She pours liquid fire from one cup to another, showing you that extremes are illusions. You do not have to swing between total control and total surrender. Real mastery is the middle flame, the steady burn that neither consumes nor dies. This is your training in divine patience. The archer cannot shoot while trembling. Learn to stand still long enough for the wind to declare its direction. Every time you resist the urge to rush, the bow hums a little truer. The ancestors lean closer during this phase. You may notice them in dreams or coincidences. The scent of smoke when no candle burns, a line from an old song, a chill down the spine that feels like recognition. They are not warning you. They are cheering you. Their message is consistent. Do not fear the fire. It remembers who you are. 3 days, that number echoes again. But the prophecy is not about a calendar miracle. It is about rhythm. In 3 rotations of sunrise and moonrise, a corridor opens where your energy synchronizes with the higher plan. During this brief window, avoid despair, avoid gossip, avoid anyone who feeds the old version of you. Protect your frequency like sacred music. The miracle needs a clear instrument to travel through, and that instrument is your state of mind. Each dawn, light a candle or even imagine one and say, I am the keeper of sacred fire. May this day refine me, not consume me. As you speak, picture your fears rising as smoke that curls upward and disappears into a brighter sky. Now let's talk about the hidden blessing. Every Sagittarius story has one, a reward that arrives disguised as reversal. Perhaps a plan collapses suddenly, or someone withdraws their promise, or money you expected is delayed. Do not curse it. Look again in the reflection of that emptiness. The hidden blessing often enters through cancellation. When the unnecessary falls away, the necessary can finally find your address. This phase is also the cleansing of thought. Your mind, restless and brilliant, has carried too many incomplete arrows, ideas half-drawn, visions abandoned mid-flight. The fire demands focus. Choose one arrow worth your heartbeat and pull it to completion. In doing so, you tell creation that you are serious. If frustration surfaces, remember the cosmic analogy. The fruit that ripens too fast rots before harvest. Divine timing is not procrastination, it is preservation. The universe delays what you're not yet equipped to enjoy safely. It's not withholding, it's seasoning. You might notice that solitude returns now, but it feels different. Earlier it was emptiness. Now it's clarity. The silence following purification is not loneliness. It's the sound of angels rearranging your schedule. In those quiet hours, light will filter into places that grief once occupied. Let it sit in the glow as long as you can. Before sleep, place your hand over your heart again. Feel its beat, it has survived everything. Whisper gratitude, not for the pain, but for the precision of its purpose. Every heartbreak has trained you to recognize authenticity faster. That is the hidden curriculum of suffering. Your body may react to these shifts. Heat in the palms, tingling near the crown of the head, waves of emotion that come and fade without reason. These are energetic signals of release. Drink water. Move gently. Write what passes through you. The fire doesn't only burn. It illuminates. Sagittarius, in myth you are half human, half divine, 1 foot in the forest, 1 in the stars. This balance between earth and sky is your mastery, and fire is the bridge between them. It transforms the tangible into the luminous. So when you feel intensity rising, don't call it chaos, call it translation. Your spirit is translating limitation into light. In the days ahead, an encounter will test this understanding. It may be a disagreement, a delay, or a moment when the old reaction tempts you. Pause. Ask yourself, what is this fire teaching me? If the answer is patience, humility, or forgiveness, learn quickly and move on. If the answer is courage, act immediately. Both are holy. You are not being tested to prove your worth. You are being revealed to yourself. Every spark exposes a piece of gold under the soot. Every flare burns away the costume of smallness. When doubt whispers, remember, miracles don't require your permission, only your participation. You participate by staying open. Keep the window of faith cracked even when smoke fills the room. Soon, sooner than you think, the air will change. The wind will carry the scent of something new, and your instincts will lift their head like a horse catching the smell of home. You'll know then that the trial is closing. The fire will settle into embers, steady and warm, ready for the next creation. Before this section ends, let us mark the lesson. Place these words where you can see them, or let them tattoo themselves on memory. Patience is not waiting. It is preparing. In these 3 sacred days, preparation is your miracle. When you wake, greet the dawn as if it has been sent specifically to you. When you rest, trust that the night continues your work in invisible ways. And when the final spark fades, you will not be smaller for the burning. You will be transparent, clear enough for light to pass through unbroken. The cleansing fire completes its work quietly. The archer stands, soot on hands but stars in eyes. The bow gleams. Ahead on the horizon of your next breath, a new light rises, the star of divine justice. Part 3, the arrival of the star. Divine justice and the revelation of purpose. The smoke from the cleansing fire lifts, Sagittarius, and in the cleared air a single light remains. It isn't the blaze of battle anymore. It's the steady brilliance of the star, the quietest card and the loudest truth. You stand in the stillness after struggle, and the universe finally speaks in calm sentences. Every step you took through fire now glows in meaning. This is the hour of divine justice. You may feel lighter, almost transparent. That's not exhaustion. It's calibration. The cosmos has balanced the scales, removing the weight that never belonged to you. For years you wondered whether life was keeping score. Now the star answers. Nothing was lost, only delayed until you could carry it without fear. Look around. The signs of justice are already shimmering at the edges of your ordinary life. The coincidence that saves time, the apology you never expected, the opportunity that seems to appear out of nowhere. All of these are fragments of a larger choreography. Heaven is not improvising. It's unveiling. The angels whisper that every act of generosity you offered in silence is returning multiplied. You will recognize it by the tone. It will feel familiar but larger, like a melody you wrote in a dream. This is how spiritual law works. The energy you sowed in faith germinated in unseen soil, and now the harvest arrives. Not as repayment but as recognition. As the star rises, ancestors gather close again. You may sense them as warmth on the back of your neck, a flicker of candlelight without a draft. They speak through intuition, through sudden calm that interrupts worry. Their message is simple. It is time. They watched you choose light when anger was easier. They watched you forgive without witness. Now they step forward, offering the blessing that was waiting for your readiness. Justice in this higher language is not revenge, it's restoration. It doesn't return what was taken. It returns what was meant. Every closed door now opens to its true successor. Every no you endured was making room for the resonant yes that will fit you perfectly. When it arrives, you will not need to chase or persuade. It will recognize your vibration and settle beside you like destiny sitting down at its rightful table. The wheel of fortune turns quietly behind the star. Together they create motion and direction. One spins, the other points north. Destiny's machinery and heaven's compass working in tandem. You are not drifting. You are being steered. The more gratitude you express for small alignments, the faster large alignments converge. Write this decree and speak it daily as the wheel spins. Everything meant for me returns multiplied. I forgive the past. I welcome divine justice. Let those words re-educate your nervous system. They teach your body that safety no longer depends on control. Control was the language of fear. Trust is the dialect of miracles. During these days, watch for the symbol 7. It is your cosmic receipt. When it appears on clocks, license plates, totals, or messages, pause and thank the unseen accountants balancing your spiritual ledger. Each 7 means alignment confirmed. This stage of revelation may also bring clarity about purpose. Sagittarius lives to aim, but even the archer can forget the reason for the arrow. You were never meant to shoot endlessly, you were meant to shoot intentionally. The star now illuminates the true target. Not fame, not approval, but illumination through service. Your talents are the quiver. Your compassion is the draw. Your integrity is the release. Ask yourself, where does my joy meet the world's need? The answer is where purpose hides. You won't need to force it. It will glow quietly in your imagination, then appear as opportunity disguised as responsibility. Say yes. That yes becomes the bridge between destiny and livelihood. Notice, too, how relationships begin to rebalance. People who drained you drift away without drama. People who match your new frequency appear without effort. This is not coincidence, it's vibrational geometry. When light intensifies, only those calibrated to that brightness can stay. Let departures be gentle. They are acknowledgments of mismatched lessons, not failures. Forgiveness now functions as propulsion. Every resentment release frees energy for creation. Each time you bless an old story, your future gains velocity. Think of forgiveness not as a moral gesture but as spiritual physics, mass converted into momentum. Sagittarius, divine justice also restores your voice. The tower silenced you. Now the star amplifies you. Speak truth softly but clearly. Your words carry creative voltage. Be careful not to curse what's still forming by speaking disbelief. Instead, narrate possibility. Say, this path unfolds with grace, and watch it obey. In practical life, you may see sudden movement. A message answered, a payment released, a new ally appearing at the exact moment resources seemed low. Don't call it luck. Call it evidence. The universe rewards coherence, not coincidence. You are coherent now, thought, word, and action moving in the same direction. There will be one final temptation in this phase, to look back and measure how far you've come by the damage survived. Resist. The past is a finished book. Reading it again only reignites smoke. Your story is not a museum of pain. It is an evolving constellation. Each scar is a star marking where you learned light the hard way. Together they form the map of your mastery. You may cry unexpectedly, not from sadness but from recognition. Tears are the body's applause. Let them fall. The universe stands too, whispering, "You made it through the fire and never stopped shining." As night deepens, step outside if you can. Look for an actual star or imagine one. See it pulsing as if breathing with you. That rhythm, inhale, exhale, is the dialogue between creator and creation. Every beat says the same thing. Continue. The star doesn't promise instant reward. It promises meaningful continuity. You are now on the frequency of grace that doesn't expire. Keep it steady with gratitude, silence, and small acts of generosity. They are the maintenance rituals of miracle. Soon love will enter this equation. Not the dramatic kind that burns fast, but the sacred warmth that sustains. As divine justice completes its work, the heart reopens. You'll feel curiosity where you once felt caution. That curiosity is the first note of the next symphony. Rest tonight knowing this. Nothing righteous in you has ever gone unnoticed. The archer aimed with faith even when the quiver was empty, and heaven took note. Now the arrow returns, carrying not just fulfillment but understanding. The fire purified you. The star identifies you. The next chapter will humanize you again through love, connection, and purpose reborn in tenderness. The night is clear. The horizon glows. And somewhere in that luminous expanse, your next miracle is already tracing its path toward you. Part 4. The return of love and purpose. The heart awakens in fire. Sagittarius, the air after the storm feels strange, doesn't it? It's quiet, almost suspiciously so. After months, perhaps years, of searching, striving, and running toward horizons that seem to move further away, the silence feels foreign. But this stillness is not emptiness. It's arrival. For the first time in a long time, the universe isn't asking you to chase anything. It's asking you to receive. The journey through the fire, the cleansing, the justice, all of it has brought you here, to the tender work of love, renewal, and purpose rediscovered. The fire that once purified now begins to warm. Love for Sagittarius has always been paradoxical. You crave freedom yet long for belonging. You want to fly and to be understood mid-flight. You are passionate but restless, deep yet evasive when things feel too small. You've loved like a comet, bright, brief, unforgettable. But this time the universe offers a new rhythm. It offers you a love that stays. The Page of Wands arrives first, carrying the spark of curiosity and play. He is the messenger of new beginnings, a call to explore connection without control, to rediscover the sacred in laughter, adventure, and spontaneous joy. The heart that was tested in solitude is ready now to move again. Not out of need but out of overflow. Love returns to you in many forms. It might wear the face of someone new or return through reconciliation with a soul that once knew your fire but not your peace. It might not be a person at all but a passion, a calling, a divine purpose that lights the same part of you that romance once did. What matters is not the vessel but the vibration. When this love appears, and it will, you will know because it will not demand you to shrink. It will invite you to expand. You will not have to dim your fire to be safe. You will learn that safety itself can burn bright. The one who arrives will not be afraid of your intensity. They will see in it the same flame that keeps them alive. Sagittarius, before you recognize this love in another, you must honor it within. That's why the Knight of Cups enters next, a mirror, not a rescuer. He brings emotional renewal, creative rebirth, and a message that self-compassion is the magnet of miracles. The universe has watched you give everything, time, energy, loyalty, to people who did not yet know how to hold it. But that was never failure. It was training. Every heartbreak taught you how to discern truth from illusion, passion from performance, connection from dependence. This time you do not have to earn love by endurance. You attract it by alignment. Each morning say softly, "I am loved in my becoming. I am not hard to love. I am learning how to receive." Let that affirmation undo the spell of self-blame. The fire that once burned as punishment now burns as purification. Your capacity to love deeply is not weakness. It's the mark of divine trust. The universe loves through you, and when you honor that flow, everything around you recalibrates to grace. You will start to feel an inner pull, to create, to travel, to say yes to something that makes your heart skip. Follow it. That urge is the compass of your purpose being reactivated. Sagittarius, your soul was designed for movement, not escape. You are not meant to run from pain anymore. You are meant to walk toward light. If the path calls you toward a project, a vocation, a spiritual practice, commit to it. Passion is the twin flame of purpose. Your fire was never only romantic, it was creative. You are here to inspire, to teach, to tell stories that awaken others. The same energy that once reached for love now reaches for impact. Let it. Remember that not all miracles arrive in noise. Some approach like dawn, quiet, consistent, soft at first, then suddenly everything is golden. You may not even realize you've crossed the threshold until one morning you wake up and notice your breath feels unburdened. That is how the next stage begins. Not with drama but with peace. Your guides show a soul companion walking beside you in this chapter. This person could be friend, partner, mentor, or kindred traveler. They are drawn to your new frequency, the calm beneath your fire. Together, you will build something sacred. Could be love, it could be a mission, it could be both. The form doesn't matter. The resonance does. There's also a whisper from your ancestors. A maternal energy, gentle but firm. She says, "You've carried enough for others. It's time to carry joy. You don't have to be everyone's healer anymore. The best medicine you can offer now is your own peace. Let others witness it and remember their own." The universe urges you to reclaim joy as holy work. Laugh without apology. Dance without purpose. Play like you did before you learned fear. Each act of joy is rebellion against darkness. You are not escaping reality. You are rewriting it. Sagittarius, this chapter will ask you to trust the softness you once distrusted. Gentleness is not weakness. It is mastery after fire. It's the skill of holding light without letting it scorch. When love or opportunity comes knocking, don't overanalyze it. Let it in with open palms. Say, "I receive this with gratitude." Then release attachment to how it must look. Because here's the secret. Love and purpose are often the same vibration expressed in different forms. Love is divine purpose on a personal scale. Purpose is love extended to the world. When you serve with heart, you are loving the divine. When you love consciously, you are serving your mission. The two cannot be separated anymore. You will notice a change in your reflection, not just physically but energetically. The eyes soften. The voice steadies. You radiate calm power. Others may say, "You've changed," and you'll smile because what they mean is, you've returned. Your sensitivity heightens again, but now it feels like strength, not burden. You sense truth before it's spoken. You notice synchronicities multiplying. Repeated numbers 111, 333, 777 become your cosmic language. Each one says the same thing, alignment active. Don't fear the speed of this expansion. When destiny accelerates, it can feel like turbulence, but it's really liftoff. Keep your seatbelt of faith fastened. Keep gratitude as your compass. Before this chapter closes, Sagittarius, write this decree to anchor your energy. I am both the flame and the light it casts. I love without fear, create without apology, and walk in purpose guided by divine fire. Read it each night until it stops feeling like hope and starts feeling like fact. Because it is fact. The fire has changed its purpose now. It no longer tests you, it keeps you warm. You are no longer surviving. You are glowing. And as you rest under the quiet stars, remember, love will not knock you over this time. It will hold your gaze and say, "I'm not here to complete you. I'm here because you're complete." Your journey is not ending. It's unfolding. The arrow of your destiny has left the bow, and it flies with precision toward joy. Part 5, The Divine Fulfillment. The Prophecy Sealed in Light. Sagittarius, the path of fire has circled back to light. The cleansing is complete, the heart is awake, and now the universe opens the final gate. The gate of fulfillment. This is where everything that was promised, whispered, and written in your soul's contract begins to take shape in your visible world. For months, maybe years, you have been walking through invisible corridors guided only by instinct. You couldn't see the map, yet you moved. You couldn't see the outcome, yet you believed. And because you chose faith over certainty, heaven owes you manifestation. The first sign will be subtle. A conversation that lands differently. A message that feels divinely timed. A coincidence too exact to dismiss. The wheel of destiny turns again, but this time not to test you. It turns to deliver. Every seed planted in your patience is pushing through the soil. You will begin to notice new doors opening without effort. People who once ignored your light will return, drawn to its calm. Opportunities that once seemed unreachable will now flow toward you because your vibration has changed. You no longer chase, you attract. This is the essence of the prophecy fulfilled. You and the universe are finally moving in rhythm. The delays that once frustrated you were actually the heartbeat of divine synchronization. The miracle doesn't arrive as a surprise. It arrives as recognition. In these next 3 days, stay grounded and receptive. Keep your heart unclenched. The miracle will not shout. It will hum. It might come as a sudden peace where chaos used to live, or as an unexpected message that shifts your direction entirely. Whatever form it takes, receive it not with disbelief but with gratitude. Say softly, of course, this was always meant for me. Archangel Michael stands beside you again. Not in battle stance but in quiet guardianship. His blue fire now forms a ring of calm around you, sealing your new frequency. What once required struggle now flows with grace. You have graduated from survival. The universe doesn't want you to fight anymore. It wants you to flourish. If the earlier chapters were about endurance, this one is about ease. Not the absence of effort but the presence of trust. Ease is the natural state of alignment. When you no longer resist your own light, life rushes in to meet it. Sagittarius, you may notice the external world catching up to your internal transformation. Finances stabilize, relationships balance, creative flow returns. But the most profound change is unseen peace. That quiet, steady peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. You will wake up one morning and realize you are not waiting for anything. You are simply living, and that finally feels enough. This is divine justice completing its circle. The same fire that tested you now illuminates the path ahead. The same sensitivity that once overwhelmed you now becomes your compass. Every weakness has transformed into wisdom. Every wound has become an entrance for light. There's a moment in every Sagittarius life where destiny bends toward them. Not out of mercy but out of recognition. That moment is here. The angels call it the sealing of light. It's when your energy stops oscillating between hope and doubt, and stabilizes in faith. In that steadiness, miracles manifest naturally. You may feel a sudden expansion in your chest or tears for no reason. Let them fall. This is your body agreeing with the universe. Every cell in you is saying yes. In this phase, remember that gratitude is the master key. Give thanks before the outcome. Thank the lesson before you understand it. Gratitude is the language of completion. It tells heaven that the cycle is closed. When you say, thank you, you declare that fear no longer narrates your story. Now, Sagittarius, imagine yourself standing at dawn. The horizon ahead is the same one you used to chase, but something has changed. You are no longer the seeker. You have become the horizon. Everything that once felt distant now rises from within you. Your ancestors gather again, and this time they are smiling. The grandmother energy that once watched in concern now bows in pride. She says, the line of fire continues. You kept it alive. And then she fades into light, leaving only warmth behind. The universe now merges your spiritual and material worlds. Expect confirmations in both realms, a promotion, an invitation, a message, or a breakthrough idea. It's not random success. It's karmic correction. The scales are balanced. You gave without applause, loved without reward, endured without spectacle. Now life compensates with precision. You'll notice synchronicities accelerating, clocks repeating, feathers on your path, dreams that come true within hours. Do not overthink them. Simply smile and say, alignment acknowledged. This phrase seals the miracle faster than any ritual. If fear tries to return, remind yourself. You no longer owe anything to the past. The fire purified that debt. When old memories knock, open the door with compassion and let them leave peacefully. You have no business re-entering old cycles that cannot recognize your new frequency. This final part is not about triumph over others but reunion with yourself. Fulfillment is not the trophy. It's the alignment. It's waking up and realizing you no longer have to become who you already are. The archer no longer needs to hunt because the horizon has turned inward. Say now, quietly but clearly, I am the fulfillment of every divine promise spoken over my life. I receive with gratitude. I create with peace. I shine with purpose. Repeat until your breath finds the same rhythm as those words. In this state of acceptance, even time bends to favor you. Things that once took years unfold in weeks. Conversations lead directly to opportunities. Love finds you without search. You'll see why patience was holy. What was slow was sacred. What felt delayed was deliberate. And when the miracle arrives, and it will feel like recognition, not surprise. You will think, this is what all that pain was preparing me for. The archer understands now that every arrow missed the target only to teach aim, not failure. The universe crowns this moment with stillness. You are standing in answered prayer. Not because you demanded it, but because you became it. Sagittarius, raise your head. Feel the air shift. The light gentler now, the fire golden instead of red. Heaven doesn't applaud with noise. It blesses with peace. The angels mark this day in the archives of eternity. Sagittarius fulfilled their covenant. Your story does not end here. It expands. You are now the teacher, the torchbearer, the one whose light guides others through their own corridors of fire. Speak your story without shame. Let people see the human side of your holiness. That's how your purpose continues. As this prophecy closes, stand tall and whisper this final vow. I trust the fire of destiny. I am ready. I am chosen. I am fulfilled. Then exhale. The circle is sealed. The prophecy complete. The archer's flame, once scattered across lifetimes, burns steady again. No longer seeking light but being it.